Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of Facecheck. My name is Facecheck and I'm here bringing you all the awesomeness here tonight. I'm joined of course by my co-host Nives. Say hello buddy. You gotta unmute your mic first though, because I'm trolling you. Hello.
Yeah, hey, what's up?
Nothing much man, how are you today?
Very good, thank you.
That's good. We've been pretty busy organising the whole of the show, so good to have you on of course. So we of course will be hosting these four lovely people just below me. I'll quickly introduce them, starting first, but of course not the best. It is Lord Fabulous from Clan Carnage, with a pretty interesting tag there, buddy. What's going on there?
Hello! What up?
So, but quickly...
do I have to explain it now?
Oh yeah, you might as well go ahead and explain it now while we're doing the introduction. So what's up with Grilled Lettuce?
Just quickly, Blaster on my team, everyone make fun of him about this. He looks like Jesus. He made a sandwich. It was going to be a great sandwich, and then he grilled the lettuce that he put on the sandwich.
That's
Don't have words.
Don't have words. Alright, that's interesting there. Of course, we're going to have Aid, the support player from Mindfreak. How are you? Oh.
I'm good, thanks, man. How are you?
Getting trolled by your own headset, I see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. We can hear you. Loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
That's good. And what did you do today?
Oh, man, just worked today. I only got back about 6.
That's dedication there. Thanks for coming on, of course. We're going to have Papa Smithy repping from SQL. I think I trolled everyone by telling them to mute themselves.
If I can turn out how to unmute. Oh, have I done it?
Yes, you have, sir. Welcome.
Lovely to be here. I'm just admiring your lovely front end you've got set up.
Thank you. It looks it's very shiny. And of course, last but not least, the jungler from Fnatic Array, the epic rager himself, Mr. Domo.
Hello, is it unmuted?
Yep, you're good.
Alright, awesome.
Everyone's complaining in chat that I trolled you all by telling you to mute. Love it. Alrighty, just making...
You did troll us, man.
I did. I very much did.
You didn't tell us it needs time to load.
Anyway, just going to go ahead and spam all the chat tomorrow, guys. Thanks for joining us, of course, everyone there on the stream. Please tell all your friends, send your family, tell your grandma, all that stuff, and we'll get started. So, I guess, does anyone have any stories before we get into the actual content? We already had the grilled lettuce story from Fabi. Is there anything else anyone wants to share? No story time?
Even Smithy had a story. Oh, man.
No stories.
No
stories.
No stories. That's unfortunate.
We keep those stories to ourselves, Fabulous.
The Rain Man story actually was pretty funny. But I don't think we'll tell it again.
Kingpin's a troll. That's all I've got.
That's your story?
My story is actually happy birthday to Yons, you know.
Oh yeah.
That's happening today.
I said I wasn't going to forget, but I did. He's turned 25 today, so big shout out to Yons. Actually, it's been been involved in a lot of pretty much every League of Legends thing, including this production as well. So big ups to Yons for keeping the League of Legends scene alive. Happy birthday to you, friend. Little clap for you.
Happy birthday, right, Yons?
Woo!
Yay! Happy birthday, Yons! Woo!
Might sing happy birthday, Yons. Alrighty, so let's get into it, of course. Upcoming events, the big one is, of course, IPL 4. And if you could please remind me who was playing so we can get all the discussion underway. It's pretty exciting. I think it's this weekend.
Yep.
Yep.
IPL.
Got CLGNA, TSM, Dignitas, and Epic were the invites, and Curse V8, Mono Esports made it through the qualifiers and started against All Authority. So
yeah, so I think the most... So who here hasn't seen any of the... Or who didn't watch any of the IPL qualifiers? You can be honest, that's fine.
Yo.
Yeah, I didn't watch them.
No, okay. But I assume you know all the teams that were involved in... Or at least some of the teams that were involved. Yeah. Alright, cool.
Yeah, man.
So the biggest news is obviously that both CLG EU and Moscow 5 didn't make it through the qualifying process. They got beaten by lesser American teams, and AAA was the only European team to go through. So that in and of itself is pretty interesting. The one team that I don't know much about, Mono Esports, are actually the team that took out M5, which is fairly ridiculous given how well they've been playing.
Yeah, man, like M5's got all the new strats going. Like they started like AD Cannon, like they popularized it. They popularized really strong Shyvana team lineups. You know, I don't know. They're interesting, but I think people got used to their strats and then they could come back. You know.
Yeah, I did watch the games. I just can't quite remember. The thing is, I mean, they were playing on the NA server, and they had about 150, 200 ping, which of course doesn't sound like a whole much to us here in Australia, because that's essentially what we play with, if not worse. But yeah, I mean, it kind of tilted them. which was a little bit awkward. I mean, if you put any random North American team against M5, I wouldn't expect them to win. In fact, any team, I wouldn't really expect to beat M5. But pretty sad that they didn't make it through. But so there's only going to be one European team. AD Cannon, Adon seems to have disappeared randomly. Yeah, you guys have been playing a lot of AD Cannon actually. I've seen in the Mindfreak games, you and Appel have been playing a ton of Nunu Cannon.
Yeah, man.
Is there any particular reason you want to play that, or?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm kind of bad at playing. Like, I get bored of playing, support heals, shields, all that. So I'm like, oh yeah, let's play aggressive. Let's go Nunu, Cannon, Jarvan, all those kind of really kill lanes, and I don't know. We've been playing really well and just working it well. So it's been strong, and we've been keep doing it. So until everyone gets used to it.
Yeah, so it's essentially that you want to be more aggressive and play into lanes rather than just farm up.
Yeah, like there's no point being scared of a jungler that's not always going to be there. So we'll just play aggressive, try and get some kills, try and get ahead. Win the game that way. That's just the way we've been playing now.
I don't know if Dale's trolling me. Apparently one of their members is hospitalized. That seems not correct. Anyway.
Alex Itch, yeah. Alex
Oh,
Itch
really?
is in hospital.
For what? That's
He
crazy.
was. He put up a Reddit AMA while he was in there. I forget what it was, but probably just didn't look out for
Was
himself.
he not there for the qualifier?
No.
No, this is recently. This is like after
okay.
Hanover.
Okay, so he was still there trying to qualify for IPL 4. I don't think that's...
Yeah, but I mean, I think like you mentioned about the ping, and like, while it's not a lot to ask, it's fair to say they're out of their comfort zone. So I think reading too far into what that says about the strength of European teams against Americans is a little bit facetious.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
I
I
absolutely.
agree.
I don't think it's that the European teams are bad. Again, both CLG, EU, and M5 have proven to be incredible teams. Well, more than capable of taking on the top NA teams and just teams in general and winning. But it was surprising to me the fact that there's going to be 7 North American teams and only 1 European team in what is a global
I
event.
don't find that surprising since the qualifiers took place on NA, where the NA teams had ping advantage. And again, we've discussed that EU would have been used to the ping. So I'm actually not that surprised that there's no EU teams that got through.
Well, one did get through.
It's kind of similar to what happened with you in the Korean server.
Games.
Sorry, what was that?
The thing with us on the Korea server, we were on like 400, 500 ping. EU teams were only on 150 ping, but they're still used to 30, 50 ping. So it's basically the same, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm glad one of them got through, but it kind of sucks that they all couldn't make it. The one thing I do want to bring up from that game, though, was, is anyone here familiar with M5's reputation of being somewhat bad-mannered in games?
Yes.
Infamous.
Infamous.
Are they really?
Apparently.
I thought they were really mad.
I'm trying to think of the other example other than the IPL one that I already know that I'm going to bring up, but there was another game where they were bad-mannering the crap out of someone, and everyone was
I
like,
think it was in a Go for LOL.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And everyone was kind of like, oh, what's happening? This is so bad. And, how would this team do this? They won events, they're really high profile. And apparently all the Europeans were just like, yeah, that's what they're like normally.
But they're Russians, so that explains it.
Nice.
I mean, honestly, Russians are notorious for being bad-mannered in esports. I remember in Warcraft 3, all the top Russian players would bad-manner and always complain and whine about something. So, yeah, I think it's just Russia.
It's just Russia. Anyway, the incident I did want to bring up, though, was at this recent tournament, because, again, we're talking about they're playing with ping. It's frustrating to be out of your comfort zone, as you guys have said. What happened was, Alex died mid, but ended up getting a kill on Cassiopeia, who dove too far, and the enemy team's Cass from Mono Esports typed LOL in all chat. And Cass was presumably talking about killing herself after trying to go in there, but both Diamond Des the jungler and Alex Hitch got really mad, and the first response from Diamond Des was Stafu retard. So they were not happy. Now I think they thought they were laughing at him, which is obviously it's not really easy to see the context from there, but it was kind of.
I think it's justified.
Yeah, the thing is, from my perspective, it didn't seem like they were attempting to BM them, but of course without context, and if you're frustrated in that situation, it's going to seem aggressive, and you're just going to want to tell them to shut up. Now, the interesting thing that came up after that was the guys from M5 were saying, whatever, like, I don't care if you were just kidding with me, don't type stuff into all chat. That's just not cool. So that's what I want to ask you guys. Do you think there should be more tournament regulations on what people can actually say in all chat? Because right now there are pretty much none, or there aren't any that are actually enforced.
Well, Sorry, I think there should be. If you look at all other esport titles, so Dota, Dota 2, HON, Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, it's considered one really bad method to type in all chat, type a lot in all chat, and tournament regulations say that you can get disqualified or you can get penalized for it. And I think that's what we need in League of Legends. I think it hasn't been implemented yet because everyone accepts that the League of Legends community is shitty and everyone shit talks each other. But if we want it to grow even more in the competitive scene, we need to put that regulation on.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I'm trying to think, does anyone know if the Cybergamer letter, for example, has that in their rules at all? Because I think for the ESGN season, we're attempting to run something like that through the regulations, and I'm sure when we review for the second season of the league that we'll probably put that in there, because in my opinion, the only things that you should be able to say are GLHF and GG well played.
You just need to put a regulation on TICE, because no one else talks.
Well, maybe they should just not have all chat. I mean, it can't be that hard to figure it out.
I got to agree with that on there. Like, I don't even see the point, in all chat. Like, you have the pre-game lobby to say, good luck, have fun. Then you have the after-game lobby to say, GG. That's all that needs to be said. Nothing needs to be said in all chat.
You need all chat because, what if there's an issue and, your player needs to reconnect or you need to restart the game or something like that? It's still needed, but there needs to be regulations on it. I agree with regulations. Yeah.
Oh, man. Dat ate on.
Such a troll.
I blame stream chat. I've been slowly watching as you guys have been talking, and there's just unbelievably, there's just amazing troll. Thanks for that, buddy. Can't help it being.
Oh, there's a lot of public outrage that I didn't have my shirt off.
That's true. I did notice. There we go. That's going to be in the archives forever. Anyone else have any comments on the all chat? Should we or should we not have all chat? Or should we at least regulate it? Obviously we need it, I think that's a given, but should we have more regulations on it?
Definitely regulated compared to what it is at the moment where, as you said, even in the really high profile tournaments such as, IPL, the qualifiers, that sort of stuff shouldn't be happening at a professional level.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously on streams it's less bad for players. I mean, using a StarCraft example, I think Idra is obviously fairly famous for BMing people, and when he does it on stream, I don't really mind, even though he's representing, a fairly large esport organization. The fact that it's his personal stream, viewers find it funny. It's probably what helps get him viewers, honestly. On his personal stream, it's not that bad. Obviously, unless you're doing something really stupid, like just, I don't know, being so offensive that you shouldn't exist. But that's different. But I think in any tournament setting, you should absolutely. I mean, even in Idra's case, who's obviously BM'd people in the middle of games on professional stages, honestly, I mean, anyone here not familiar with Idra, actually, before I go on?
Sorry, what was that?
Anyone here not familiar with Idra from the StarCraft scene? I think maybe.
Oh, no, I know him.
Yeah. Maybe
yeah.
Smithy needs a...
No, you can keep going.
Oh, do you need me to update you on who Idra is? Because I think you're the only...
No.
Alright, cool.
I'm good.
Yeah, so it's he's obviously BM'd people at MLG. He's got a fairly long list of very famous games where he's just kind of been a dick to people. Do you think he should be, I don't know, maybe not given a match loss, but penalized in any way for that? Have maybe part of his seeding taken away, anything like that?
Well, you can't really do that. You can't take away their seed for, complaining or something. And to be honest, his bad manner isn't that bad. He'll just say, oh, your player's one-dimensional. That's not life-changing insults. That's just him insulting their game. The type of stuff you should be getting banned for is, what M5 did. Telling the other team to shut the fuck up and stuff like that.
Okay, but
I don't know, if you're touching on things that aren't acceptable in daily life, you shouldn't say it at all, racism, sexism, all that type of stuff. But I don't know, I think saying GG noobs and stuff is not bad. It's not that bad at all. I don't know. There's a limit.
Okay, so how would you enforce that? Obviously esports is slowly, just in general, especially in LoL, is becoming more widespread, more mainstream, and more professional. Would you have referees in the game to moderate what people are saying and to...
Okay, the way you implement it is you take a look at Warcraft 3 when it was actually alive, and the league scene in Warcraft 3, on the website, you would have the teams listed, and next to them you would have penalty points. And basically, in the rule set, it would specify how you would get penalty points, and if a team reached a certain amount of penalty points from, say, bad mannering in game, not showing up on time, etc., they would get kicked out of the league if they gained enough penalty points. And I think that's a really good idea for ESGN because I think teams have had too much leeway and it hasn't been strict enough on the games and also the manner in which we play. So I'd like to see that implemented into ESGN Season 2, a penalty point system, and yeah, so.
But, I mean, obviously, at an international level, when you have multiple tournaments happening, like, does each league have their own different system of penalty points? Like, you know, there's IEM and IPL and, say, MLG, just as 3 big international leagues. Like, what do you do when you have all these teams playing across multiple different leagues? Like, obviously, you have to have them all have separate rules, otherwise it's not really... It's not fair to impose on all 3 leagues the same rule set. Or is it? I mean, it might be.
I don't know. Like... I don't know how you implement it in tournaments. Maybe like there should be a warning system and say they get warned if it's severe enough, and then if they do it again, they get kicked from the tournament. And like even if it's a team like M5, if they don't follow the strict rules, then they should be kicked. There should be no special treatment for certain teams. I don't know. Like for online leagues, it's a lot easier because like you can enforce the penalty points. But it's when it's like international tournaments and stuff, like it's a lot harder to enforce that kind of disqualification because obviously the fans would cry if their favorite team got kicked, and that would backlash on tournament viewers and stuff. So I don't know, it's a really touchy subject, and it's really hard to implement it into a game like League of Legends.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I think you have to be careful with gamesmanship though, because there's a fine line between having a bit of fun and showing off a little bit of flair and being bad-mannered. I mean, do you go to the stage where if you're spamming laugh in lane, is that approaching saying something offensive in all chat? I don't know.
That's a valid.
That's alright, man. Leave that alone.
Slippery slope sometimes.
I think it's fine.
I don't know, man.
Go ahead.
Well, it should have the same. You know, you've got tribunal, you've got reports like that. If you talk crap during the game, you should be able to get reported for that. But the same as any normal game, and you should be able to go to tribunal for that kind of thing. Like it shouldn't be separate from the normal online games. It's the same thing. It should be judged by the same rules. So if you can get banned for something you say on the tournament, you should get banned for it that you normally would in the game. So it should be like that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the biggest issue is that like you'd have to have a body that regulates these things, because I think keeping them consistent would be the most important thing. So think about other professional sports where they have some sort of body that governs what happens to players in any sport. So obviously every second day there's some sort of rugby scandal going on, and I'm pretty sure there's a board that administrates all that. Now obviously traditional sports have had quite a leg up in terms of legacy, but I think that's something that we'd have to think about implementing. Think about Casper, the Korean organization that pretty much sets down the rules for gamers. Like you have to actually have a gaming license to be a pro gamer in Korea, and Casper is the organization that monitors most of that. It actually has set rules for what people can and can't do in games. Do you think that's maybe where esports is heading for everyone, or at least on a per country basis?
That's kind of very totalitarian of them. I don't know. You should have judges for each match, but it's a grey area. You can't just judge by what somebody thinks is offensive. There should be a few people who, if they agree it's offensive, then they should take action against those people.
Yeah, there should just be sort of like, I won't say like everyone should bow down to a very certain set of rules. What is what's bad manners, what's good manners, but there's certainly there's, I'm going to say, common sense. When something that's probably just that's too much.
Yeah.
You still have to have someone define what is and what isn't common sense, though. So,
yeah.
I mean, it would obviously take quite a lot to implement. So, whoever's talking can go ahead.
It's like I said before, it's a hard topic to define, and everyone has different perceptions of good-mannered and bad-mannered. Like someone said before, could typing /laugh right in front of your opponent be considered bad-mannered, and others just think it's like trolling for fun. So I don't know. Let's go to the next topic. I'm bored.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably talk for a while. I mean, Dale actually had a good point in chat. He said, if any of these teams or players did do anything, and I know this does happen, that their sponsors and of course their team managers are kind of there to put them in line. I mean, I know for a fact that Evil Genius has stated that they've personally gotten behind Idra when he's done stuff that he shouldn't do and told him not to do it. Like, obviously it's different to having, you know, a third party kind of regulate that, but do you think that's enough? Like, if you guys are all on professional teams, do you think if you did something and your sponsors were like, please don't do that, would you listen, or would you just be like, sponsors, whatever?
Oh, 100%. I wouldn't do it again.
Do you guys have managers as
Not
well?
gonna piss people off.
I wouldn't risk losing sponsorship. No way.
Yeah, I mean, you have
Yeah.
managers as well, right? So it's their job as well to kind of be like, look, that wasn't okay, etc. I mean, do you think it's more up to the
Oh, well-
discretion of the tournament organizer than anything else?
It's all up to Dean. If he yells at me, then I've done something wrong. And also Appella, he likes to yell.
I don't know, when I have like the marketing manager or CEO of Carnage talking to me saying, oh, you know, you shouldn't be saying this, like, okay, yeah, I think I'm going to stop saying that ever again.
Fair enough. So, do you think that the fact that, I mean, TOs I think should probably step in for the most part per individual tourney? For example, whoever's organising an MLG, for example, the tournament organiser should be the person that steps in. You know, if Yonder's organised an event, say a LAN at InTime, for example, quick plug there to InTime. But, you know, do you think it's up to the people organising them and the people that manage the teams and the players? Is it better to let the community and let those small communities regulate everyone? Instead of having one big body.
What if you had... Okay, but what if your CEO says, no, it's okay to trash talk, we don't care? So then, like...
Yeah.
I don't know, like, you need to have the admins and the tournament organisers working together to define a common what's good and what's bad-mannered, and then you'd hope, obviously, that the players' sponsors would also say, okay, well, if you're going to shit-talk other teams and blah, 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 you're giving us a bad name. If you don't stop, we're going to drop you. So, like, you'd hope that would happen everywhere, generally. That's common sense.
Yeah.
After M5's first bad manner incident, they were forced to do a public apology. Like, they released something on M5's YouTube channel where their manager had the whole team sitting down and have to apologise to everyone, but they still kept being bad mannered. So, like, it's how far are the obviously they have to enforce what they're trying to put across. You've got to be strict with your players.
I think the natural segue here is, what do you do if you know someone the enemy team's disconnected?
If you don't have the pause function, you mean?
Yeah, assuming you don't have the pause function, because unfortunately that hasn't trickled down fast enough.
No. Okay, so that's a good one. What do you guys think on that? What happens if someone on the enemy team DCs? What should you do if you don't have access to pause?
Someone calls it, and then every team member from each team recalls to the fountain, and then until that person reconnects, they sit in the fountain and wait.
I don't know, is this like an online game or is it a LAN?
It doesn't
Because
matter
if it's
either
an
way.
online one, it's kind of their problem. If they have DC'd, it's their internet, it's their house. Nobody else should lose out because of that. If it's at a LAN though, and it's not their fault, they have no control over it, then I think there should be some kind of moderation in effect. That everyone just, they sort it out together. They should, I don't know, as Demo said, maybe just all recall to the fountain and wait for the person to come back.
But like, say for example, this oncoming online tournament, like, don't you think there should be some rule that governs what happens there? Because it's kind of crappy to lose based off just an active core internet.
I don't know. Personally, I just can't wait for pause function. It just needs to be in the game. It's such a staple thing.
The sooner we get pause function, the sooner we don't have to think about this problem. So hurry up, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, obviously we don't, unfortunately, so what would you do? Like, even at a LAN, like, obviously I think most tournaments have rules where you have to restart if it's before first blood or before some amount of minutes, I think 5. See, that rule makes sense to me, because you're not really changing anything there. You're essentially, I mean, sure, you might have something like an invade that they didn't see coming that they'll see coming next game because you did it, if they somehow know. And yeah, that is an advantage you had that you now no longer have, but I think resetting the game at that point isn't really that big of a deal. and so that's fine. But if someone pauses, 45 minutes into the game where the death timers are really, really severe, and we don't have a pause function, Baron is up for that team, and if they get it, they're probably going to win the game because it's so late. Do you think it's right to just let the game play out from that point?
Actually, a really good example of that is if I'm sure most people would have watched DreamHack, the Season 1 Championship. I forgot, it was someone from Epic Gamer who got disconnected, and the game just actually went on, and it was 35 minutes in. And they got knocked down a loser bracket because of that game as well. And that was just because of a hardware failure that they were supplied with.
Yeah,
So,
I remember that game. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why I think someone has to take the lead on it, because I mean, if I'm a watcher of soccer and I watched the Premier League for many years, and there was a rule that if someone went down injured, then the players would be left accountable. They'd have the fair play rule. They'd either kick it out if they thought it was, if they were taking advantage of a situation, or they keep playing on. And the situation came around that it just became abused. Like teams would use it as an advantage, score a goal off it, and it was, BM to the max, if you will. And so recently they've made it so the referee's discretion is complete there. So I think there's a push for some regulation on stuff like that, just because, I mean, it's wonderful if you win a game you aren't going to win, you win more money or prize money comes into it, but at the end of the day, I know personally I'd err on the side of giving everyone a chance and trying to sort out net issues and then win the game off your own back.
But obviously in soccer the difference is that you have a referee there who essentially acts as the pause function, because you have someone that can actually make a call and regulate it. The players here themselves have to regulate that, and if you're playing, if you're playing to win a tournament where there's potentially tens of thousands of dollars on the line, if there are no rules against what happens when a player DCs, and a player happens to DC, or something goes wrong, and that's going to win you the game and the money, like, what do? You're asking someone, you're essentially asking someone to potentially throw away all the money they could win, and the fact that they're going to win isn't their fault. It is unsportsmanlike, absolutely, but I mean, is it fair to let players have to regulate stuff like that?
I don't think it should be
if you think about it, if the DC never happened, they would never be in that position of getting the free money or winning that game so easily. So, like, yeah, if you know what I mean, like, you say, if a teammate from the other team DCs, and then they're in a position to get Baron and then push an inhibitor and win the game, and you're saying, okay, so since they have that position, they shouldn't be denied the right to have it. Like, since there's no regulation, they can just do it and they won't think otherwise. But like, I think that's wrong, because they wouldn't be in that situation if the person didn't DC. So like, there should automatically be a rule where they can't take advantage of the DC, so they can't push towers, they can't take dragon, they can't take buffs, they can't like do anything that will give them an advantage.
So then again, they've got that 5-minute delay in telling people that people are DC'd, so you can just kind of 4v5 fight a Baron if you kite well enough. So maybe it's not too big a deal anymore, but I think that's a decent input.
I disagree. That is so situational to say, you could just 4v5 them at Baron. Like,
equal. No, Barons, they buff Barons, so it would be more possible. If people are trying to focus on Baron, you can fight them, and if they're not damaging Baron, Baron's still attacking them.
But okay, if there's 5 people at Baron, and then they've got it all warded around Baron, and they know, or they've figured it out that you have a DC, they're either going to start Baron, force it, and rape you 5v4, or they're going to disengage, or they're just going to rush Baron, get it, or they're going to have it warded, and then when they bait you and force you to come, they're just going to win with 5v4. Like, it wouldn't be that hard, honestly.
Yeah, the only way I can see that happening is if you DC in lane, but I don't know, I don't think people are that scumbag. I think they'll give you a chance to DC.
I don't know, man. People, I don't know. Oh, I guess if we're talking international, some teams
talk about yourself,
Australian teams.
Hey, when the real money is on the line, who's to say they're not that scumbag?
Australian teams have done it, man. So including Frey.
Personally, I leave them or I attack them so they start running back. But I think they automatically do that.
Like, it's happened to me before in ranked 5s, and the other team makes it clear, and then I say something in vent, and there's always that uneasy silence where before everyone knows what the group think is. Like, I'm of the opinion, okay, I'll back off, whatever. But there's never, when you get 5 people together on a team, it's always a bit weird as to how to take advantage or not take advantage of those situations.
But in these games, it is a full team, and like they're going to be on Vent or Skype or TeamSpeak, and they'll make a decision. And I don't know, maybe I don't think they'd be that scumbag. I think they'd let the person run back because they do start running back automatically now.
Like, are you talking international teams or Australian teams here, or both?
Just international teams, just at these tournaments, these big. I know the ones with the big money, but I know people want money, but I don't think people are going to be that bad. With everyone watching, I don't think they're going to be scumbag.
Actually, yeah, true. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that'd give them a chance.
I know some Oz teams are still scumbag to do it.
Right.
Oh shit!
That's true. We've done it. Hey, I'm not going to deny it. We have done the appointment. So.
Fair enough. I mean, it's nice to see the scene has grown up quite a bit. To be fair, certainly I get a lot less random trash talk in player chat before games start now as I'm casting. So good job to all of you for staying a little bit more manner.
We're getting there.
We're getting
one step at a time.
very slowly.
There's still a lot of troll shout-outs though every time they come.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of those. Sorry.
Not me,
Oh, yeah,
mate.
shout out to Supergirl right by. Yeah.
Should probably ban the troll shout out too. I generally move chat honestly when I'm casting, but hey, whatever. Depends on the type of game. If it's a fun game, I don't care. You guys can do whatever you want in all chat.
Yeah.
People are talking about stuff. Alright, I might come back to that later. So that was a nice long tangent. So back to actual IPL 4 instead of how BM M5 are. Yeah, so the teams that are competing are AAA, V8, Curse, TSM, Epic, and a bunch of other American teams, Mono, and some other dudes. I can't remember off the top of my head. CLG, oh yeah, of course, they qualified.
NA, yeah.
So obviously,
Go CLG, he's vicious.
so obviously the big deals here are the fact that both Epic and TSM have had fairly major team changes in the last 3 or 4 weeks or so. So, I mean, obviously they're automatically qualified. They're still really strong teams, but do you guys have generally any thoughts on the team changes that have been happening for Epic and Solomid? Actually, does anyone here not know what happened before we continue?
Oh, I don't know much about the Dan Din situation. I know the Dyrus one, but I don't know that much about Dan Din.
Okay.
I don't know why they dropped him.
Alright, so just quickly to review before we get in. Alright, so Dyrus is now playing top for Team Solomid, because Rayman left, and Dandin left Epic. I don't know.
Got kicked.
Yeah, apparently he got kicked. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't like Rayman.
You don't like Rayman? Fair enough.
And then
Nah.
like Fortnite.
Yeah, so Dandin's in Fortnite now, which, wink wink nudge nudge, Fabby. Anyway.
Fortnite's got hacker version 2, yeah.
Not anymore.
Oh, they lost hacker?
Yeah, they replaced him with Dan.
Ah, wow.
So yeah, anyway, so obviously Epic has a new jungle and a new AD, I think, because someone moved, Westrice moved to mid permanently? No, Sauce is in mid. Westrice moved to top permanently.
Westrice was top prior to the move. It was.
He
Dyrus
plays speciality
in jungle.
champs.
Oh, Dyrus moved.
Dyrus in jungle and Dandin bot. No, because Dyrus is on.
Dyrus is
December,
in bot.
obviously.
Yeah.
It's Claky D and Don't Mash Me.
Yeah.
Who are Epic's new jungler
And AD. Yeah. So obviously that's changed, and obviously Dyrus is now playing for TSM, and Dan isn't playing in any of the teams that are going to be at RPL 4. Do you think either of these team changes dramatically changed either of these teams' chances in the tournament?
Oh yeah, Dyrus is gonna kick some ass. I love that guy. He's gonna win all the lanes.
Yeah,
I think the situation with TSM had kind of gotten toxic with the Rain Man. Like, I don't think Dyrus is a more skilled player than the Rain Man. He has better mechanics. Sorry, he has a better champ selection. Like, he can actually play APs and bruises top in addition to AD champions. But it just become a situation where after every game there was like all the Reddit posts about what people were saying on Vent to the Rain Man and stuff. And I just think if it's a healthier attitude now, it's good.
Question that came up prior to the Rain. Oh, just as the Rain Man was leaving was because he said that he was no longer enjoying the game playing with the team, and it was all the blame, which quite often wasn't rightfully or can disputably be placed elsewhere, going to the Rain Man. Did that drive him to not enjoy the game anymore? Like that's what.
I think
He brought it on himself, I think.
Yeah, he brought it on himself, but in TSM there was a lot of scapegoating going on. There was always blame shifting between, I think it was Reginald and Rainman, and yeah, I think it just got so volatile that Raymond just wasn't enjoying himself in the team anymore. And if you can't have a good team environment, you're not gonna want to play well.
I agree.
Well, on that note, TSM have actually, the other TSM news, because they seem to have all sorts of drama all day, every day, is that they finally acquired a manager slash coach slash breakfast maker slash coffee guy slash whatever. Do you think, just in general, I mean, do each of you guys on teams have a manager for your team?
No.
No?
Nope.
No,
Shinx?
unless you count Dane, he's pretty strict.
Well, obviously
mean-
you guys have a captain, which is similar, but not. It's still different.
Yeah.
I mean, every sponsored team in Australia, we obviously have our our CEOs or marketing managers, or sorry, marketing directors or something that are on our cases about, oh, what tournaments are you doing? What did you come in this tournament? You guys need to perform well in this tournament if you want this, this, and this, stuff like that. But we don't have like an actual team manager per se. I think that's like something that teams need to take onto themselves, as in like have their own initiative to organize themselves by themselves.
To be honest, I just think it's TSM's latest let's pass the blame on to someone else or let's scapegoat something else. After every time they perform poorly, there's always a reason, whether it's Rain Man or, we're not eating well. It's just a bag of excuses.
I think TSM did needed a manager because they're not actually sponsored, if I'm correct. Like, they don't have a traditional esports organization sponsor like CLG and Moscow 5 and MYM and SK and stuff. Like, I think TSM are independent, so they didn't really have anyone pressuring them to start performing well and to organize themselves. So I think the manager thing for TSM is good. But for other teams, like CLG, they don't need a manager. They manage themselves just fine. So, yeah.
I wonder if they get sick of each other in that team house.
Oh,
I know I would
definitely.
get sick of
Quite clearly they do.
Yeah. Apparently
Yeah.
even Reginald was starting to blame Nick Special for a few things as well recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently the manager tried to put a stop to that, but Reginald was acting like a bit of a kid. But there's a big surprise, I guess.
No.
Have you guys seen that blanket Darius wears as well? Oh my god, I want to buy that thing. That red one looks so good. Especially coming into winter.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think in general, managers are a thing that teams, as they get better and the scene becomes more professional, hopefully become more prevalent. I mean, I think what Jonas is doing isn't just trying to sort disputes out between the team and stuff like that, and, get them coffee, make sure they're comfortable so they can play and train as much as they need to, but also, I mean, do you think it's good for a team to have a coach as well? I mean, because obviously as teams, you all work on strategies together, you all work on ideas, you all have a captain, I'm pretty sure, that, helps work out things and try and resolve things within the team, but it's obviously a big difference to be 5 people playing in one team and be in a game, and then have someone else look at your game from a different perspective and be able to point out things that you may have missed because you're in the middle playing the game when you were playing it. So do you think?
So we're assuming they play League and they understand. Yeah,
Yes.
they're not trying to to do all this noob.
No, they would absolutely have to have a good understanding of the game, which could potentially be tricky, but I mean, I know, for example, Koreans have a lot of coaches from their teams, mostly former pro players, actually.
Yeah.
So do you think that's a good idea, potentially?
Yeah, well, it's always good to have a third-party view on your matches, like going over your videos of the way you play, pointing out mistakes you probably didn't see. Like, nobody catches all their mistakes when they play. I know Tree Eskimo used to pick up a lot of his mistakes, but like he always asked his viewers like what they thought he did wrong and all those type of things. So yeah, it is good to have another view on the way you play, and it would be nice to have that.
I know, for example, when we lost to Frey, we played some games with Frey a few weeks ago and lost. One thing I did was have a chat with Domo about the game and about things regarding the game, and just the ability to have some candor about things and be honest was good, And I think there are opportunities because all of us are trying to get better, and I mean, obviously there'll be times when you'll hold things back, but I think there's a lot of chances for mutual benefit there. There just isn't, like, the scene is so new. There isn't these like veteran players that have retired from playing it or whatever that you could use as a manager. You kind of need each other to to debate strategies and stuff like that, and you know, go far with that.
Well, how often do you guys review your own play, as an example? Like, I mean, obviously you don't have the replay client really yet, but you have VODs, hopefully, of games that have been casted, or even if you've streamed them, you might have access to them that way. I mean, do you guys ever go over your own games and analyze, you know, what we did wrong, what we could do better?
Yeah, actually, the recent match Mindfreak played against Frey, we were doing really well all early game. We had wards everywhere, we were getting lots of kills, I was like roaming a bit, ganking heavens. That we kind of threw it, we focused too much on Baron. This is when we were watching it and having people tell us what we did wrong. We focused too much on Baron, we didn't push objectives, we didn't push towers, we got caught a couple times, which was unfortunate. But we focused way too much on Baron. We should have just been like pushing our advantage instead of trying to give them time to, you know, farm up and fight. So that kind of thing, yeah, it was good to have people watching our stream, watching you cast actually pastry, and telling us what we did wrong, because it's a good third party perspective that we wouldn't have had anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Generally, like for almost every single ESG and Pro match that's been casted for Frey, I think like all my teammates will, everyone will go and watch the VOD like almost immediately after or the day after, and just have a look at how we performed, what we were doing right, what we did wrong, and etc. etc. Like the Mindfreak game, game 2, where we almost lost, and to be honest, we should have lost. But like we learnt so much from that game, and like to have the VOD available and for the team to look at it and analyze everything that we needed to work on, that's really important. And I think Australian teams need to get into that mindset of, okay, we lost, let's sit and vent as a team, not get angry, analyze what went wrong in the game, have a look at the VOD, see what the casters said, and just try and improve on it. And I think if teams like put in the time and effort to do that, they'll see a major improvement in both the team synergy, team gameplay, and just overall plays throughout games.
Yeah, it really is important to do that. Like, I know we've actually started getting into the habit ourselves. You know, just maybe if it's just one game after, you know, practice, we look at one where, you know, something interesting might have happened. You know, we might have lost, or we might have won the game. We actually, you know, go back and, you know, go step by step. You know, we could have done this better. We could have done that better. And as long as you learn something from the game, it's not actually a waste. Like, even if you win or lose, that's irrelevant.
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
Like people have always said, you learn more from losing than you do from winning. And so yeah, I mean, I think having really close games where you potentially could have lost, or games that you just flat out lose, I think as a team they're a lot more beneficial than winning, simply because it allows you to improve and get better. Whereas
especially stomping. There's nothing good that comes with stomping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No offense, Adon, but game 1 was pretty one-sided.
Yeah, you fuckwits wouldn't leave us alone, but
I looked at the VOD and there's nothing I could take out of it because you guys just played bad. And then game 2 was so close, you guys were stomping us, so we took a lot. We took a lot from that game. So,
but do you feel as though having a coach or someone else that can do all that for you while you just practice instead, and then you go over that as a team, would that help in any way, or is it more just something you need to go over yourself?
I think it's initiative. Like, if the team doesn't do it themselves, like come together and actually discuss it, then I don't feel you're going to get the main benefit from it. Like, maybe if the coach looks at the VOD and says, okay, the major turning points are here, here, and here, you guys need to watch this and then discuss, like, that's helpful instead of us just going through a 45-minute game and watching every little thing. But besides that, I mean, I think it's more up to the team than having an actual coach.
Yeah, if they can go through and they can find points that they want to show you, instead of you having to watch every little thing, because there's a lot, the games are huge, they're 45 minutes.
Yeah.
If you have someone else that can do that and find out parts to point out to you, that's much more beneficial. Way more efficient as well.
Benefits to it, that's for sure. But you got to ask, you know, is the Australian scene exactly at that point yet, where you know someone could spend that much time being a manager? Like, it's just not there yet.
Well, that's simply because, like we said before, like Pastry said before, the coaches in Korea are all retired professional players, whereas the top players in Australia are all top players. Like, none of us are quit, and even if like some of us did quit, I don't think anyone in Australia would really be interested in coaching a team. Like let's be honest here. Like, I know I wouldn't if I retired from LoL. I wouldn't put all my time into coaching a team.
The current like Korean coaches are mainly coming from like StarCraft and StarCraft 2, who are just people who have like RTS sense and the mindset. Like, because there really are no retired LoL players at the moment. There's ex StarCraft good LoL players, and like that team. I can't remember the name that recently beat CLG in the on-game net.
Xenex Storm.
Yeah. Their coach
Jinx.
is a retired StarCraft football player, and you know, like, he just brings in his RTS knowledge, you know, just that sort of like game sense, and I guess, you know, he can go through replays and look at when they go wrong, and like, you don't really need that much. You don't need to be an ex-LoL pro to be a coach, realistically.
Okay, yeah, but in Australia we still don't have that. We don't have experienced RTS players to coach the LoL teams.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, yeah.
Yeah, but internationally it's becoming slowly, I think, more common. I mean, obviously Korea is kind of the pioneer in terms of everything in how professional esports works, but do you think as esports itself grows globally, do you think that maybe that's something we're going to see more and more across all games?
Actually, I think it will, actually. In Mindfreak, there's a COD team for PC, and our manager actually sits behind all their games and watches them, and he tells them what they did wrong. He doesn't say a word during the games, but he tells them, like, he yells at them afterwards and stuff, swears at them. But yeah, no, it was very interesting to watch that. So I think maybe that it is possible that those types of things are coming, but we'll see. They need to know the game, though. I mean, there's no way you could coach LoL without actually playing it and knowing it, I don't think.
LoL, like MOBAs themselves, you can't really have someone from, you know, the RTS background, because RTS is all about, you know, actions per minute, you know, a lot of micromanaging, a lot of macro management, whereas League of Legends is more about, you know, a teamwork atmosphere.
And knowing the champions and what they do as well.
Knowing what to do in certain situations, yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think an RTS pro, or ex-pro, or whatever you want to say, could really coach a LoL team, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about TSM's new manager slash coach is that he's actually doesn't really play video games. He's fairly horrible at StarCraft. In general, he doesn't actually play games. I mean, he's more, I think, of a manager than a coach, but he does coach them in the sense that he helps them get through stuff. Now, obviously, he can't give them specific game advice, but he used to coach, I believe, wrestling was what he pointed out in a forum, is that he used to coach, you know, school wrestling, and he's done a lot of coaching and a lot of sports work. So he clearly has the mindset of helping people through problems and encouraging them, even if he doesn't necessarily know anything about the game, which I think he doesn't, essentially. So I mean,
yeah, I think more or less they got a parent to come to their house.
A life coach.
Yeah, life coach. There you go. It's
I
like,
think,
this is how you cook, kids.
Well, yeah, and he just cooks for them now.
He doesn't even. Yeah, he doesn't even teach them. He just does it for them.
Which is fairly important. I mean, if there's one thing to say about TSM is that, I mean, it's great that they have a gaming house and they're playing together and taking it seriously, but yeah, they had a lot to learn in terms of adult life skills when it came to moving out. And
the asterisk here is it is Reggie's brother. So they are keeping it in the family. The manager is Reggie's brother, yep.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Jonas.
No.
Jonas Din.
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't know that. All the Dins. But I mean, I think that's actually mostly good for Reginald, because he's fairly busy. He seems to be the one that has the most problem containing himself when he gets angry. So I think having your sibling there is probably, hopefully, quite good for you. But I mean, it's really if he's up to
it diversifies things for him, because he's in charge of solomed.net as well, and
Yeah.
he's always pressuring the other players for articles and stuff. So if he's worried about that and his own streaming dollars and everything, maybe having someone to manage half that load will let him focus on being a lead player rather than being, I don't know, in charge of a business.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, obviously, it's going to be pretty interesting. Do you guys have any predictions before we get off IPL of what's going to happen? Who's your pick to win the tournament? I'll let you all say who you think's going to win. Never start with you. Who's your pick?
I don't know. I think Dignitas are playing really well recently, you know. So I'd say Dignitas, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Great Lettuce.
I think AAA. AAA's got it. They're due for something big, I think.
Adon.
Darius is going to win. I don't know his team, but Darius is going to
Just 1v5, no problem.
Yeah, man.
No, 1v9 M5 style.
Oh shit.
Smithy.
I think it's going to be Dignitas quite easily.
And Domo.
CLG!
CLG. St. Vicious.
Looking like a true fanboy.
St. Vicious. St. Vicious.
Come on, St. Vicious carry, it's gonna come.
I'll give it to the TSM. I think they're playing well, and I like their team, so we'll see. Anyway, that was fun. Moving on to the next tournament that's actually been running, the Champions Invitational tournament. I think it was Invitational at OGN over in Korea. Now, I know a lot of the Aussies have generally been watching this tournament because the time zones work out actually pretty well for us. What have you guys been thinking of what's happening with the on-game net stuff? Obviously, CLG's over there
I love
in
the
Korea.
production values. They're so good.
Yeah.
It's so good to watch League with such a professional video team, and like they're cutting into like vent for a few seconds to give you a taste of that, and the formation grids like it's a soccer match. It's cool.
Anyone else been watching the OGN? No one?
I haven't been watching that
Yeah,
one
I
actually.
agree. Yeah, I mean the streams are amazing. They're better than anything we've ever seen in terms of what content they give us. So, and I know you mentioned, or in the material you gave us, you said CLG almost got knocked out. Even though that might be, the two teams they had to beat to like re-qualify back into the top 8, they kind of stomped them. Like, let's be honest, they stomped those two Korean teams really easily. So, although they were quite close to getting knocked out, they weren't really because they were much better than the teams. That being said, I have no idea how they're going to do in the round of 8. If they play like they did versus the other Korean teams, like the two they just beat, I think they might do well. If they play garbage like they have in scrims lately, then they're just going to get raped. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I think there's only 2 really good Korean teams, at least at the moment. Obviously, there's a lot of teams playing in this tournament, and if it's Korean and esports, they're probably going to get quite good at it quite quickly. But I mean, both MIG and Zenex Storm looking really, really strong. So it is just generally nice to see strong teams from the Asian region play really well. I mean, I think CLG is just kind of there because they're well known and it ties in well with, I guess, sponsorships and stuff like that. I mean, would any of you be watching the tournament if it was all Korean teams?
Yes.
Yep. But do you want to watch it more, the fact that CLG is playing? A team that you know, a team that you presumably enjoy watching, or at least enjoy watching fail, maybe, if you're not a fan.
It adds flavor. It adds flavor to it, both CLG and Fnatic.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the
Fnatic
Fnatic
are
are playing
yeah.
rubbish at the moment.
Yes, they are.
On the
So-
topic of Fnatic, I think Shushei should be kicked because he's a bad player.
That was it.
Yeah? Anyone else think Sushi should be kicked?
Spends too much time with his puppy, I'm told.
It sucks, really. Fnatic really have been playing fairly horribly. Makes me sad. Especially
I
after
mean,
DreamHack.
when's the last time you saw Shushei win his lane?
DreamHack.
Like, his performance at IEM, the last IEM, was absolutely garbage. Like,
Yeah, you had some.
I would be ashamed to call myself a pro player if I played like that.
What about
So,
Venom talking about the IEM in, I think, New York, which they won? That was a fairly dominating performance. I think he played well then.
yeah,
Back when double AP was strong, he's an AP player that goes top lane.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but we'll see. I mean, Smithy pointed out they're a double AP team originally. I mean, that was all the rage in Europe when they first played, and when they kind of finally joined NA and Europe together for the Season 1 Championships. It seems like the Euro style just was more practice. They executed well, and they were able to do a massive number on the American teams as a general rule. Do you think that now that AAP is not nearly as popular as it was before, or maybe teams have learnt how to fight it, that Fnatic are struggling to adapt to the meta? Because it seems like
He's a mid
Shushei.
player playing top.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
What do you think?
That Shushei is a mid player
top.
that's trying to play top, and that's part of the reason. Yeah, they're not doing well.
Because Xpeak is a better player than Shushei. So it's either you put Xpeak at top and still not do that good at top, and put Shushei mid, or you just simply keep Xpeak at mid, who's better than Shushei, and just replace Shushei with a better top. I think it's quite simple. I mean, Shushei's been performing really badly for the past, 6 months now. The past 2 or 3 IEMs, he hasn't done anything for the team. Even in the mass European tournaments, like Fnatic have done nothing. They just get knocked out the first round every time. So I think a roster change is needed because obviously time isn't helping them as a team.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
Hey, I mean, if, I can't.
Get a little less touchy.
I can't say that they haven't been. They haven't been. You know, I can't say that. Oh no, they've been playing really well. They just get unlucky because clearly they haven't been playing well, and they don't have results, which I think is fairly important when it comes to that. But I mean, they've been playing together for ages. They still have, you know, the friendship and the coordination. But maybe they just have to adapt a little bit more. We'll see. But hopefully they start playing a little bit better.
It doesn't take 6 months to work out. Oh, our style isn't working. We need to change it. Like, that's not... Like, if that's the case and they still haven't worked out that their style is what's the matter, then they're retarded. Like, they have Down syndrome or something. I think it's obvious... Sorry, I think it really is just Chouche or certain members of the team holding the team back. Yeah, so...
Fair enough. So, do we have any comments from Fabi or Adon, who seem to be quite bored in chat?
I don't know much about these teams, to be honest.
Does anyone want to say anything else about OGN before we move on?
There you go.
Korean number one?
Go CLG.
Go CLG. Alright, good stuff. Chat so troll. Okay, where are we up to? Just running through everything. Bunch of other Euro tournament, North American tournaments, not particularly exciting. Quickly, while we're still on tournaments, gonna quickly comment on the because the ESGN In-Time League is ending, I think, this week, and we've got a week's break and then the LAN. Do you guys have any comments on the last 7 weeks of League, of the games that have been played, etc., etc.? Obviously, you guys are all in the team that are in it, I believe. Oh, yes, no, that's correct. So, just quickly to the pro guys, have you enjoyed it at all? Just in terms of the games, what have you guys thought? We'll get onto the other stuff later, because I'm sure you'll have strong opinions.
Let Adon and Smithy talk.
Yeah, I've done my share talking, man.
Looks like it's all Smithy.
Look, I'm a recent addition, but look, it's good to have best of threes against teams that are scheduled. I mean, when it comes to scheduling scrims with teams in Australia, it can be a bit hit or miss. Look, the format's good. It's been fun games, and Frey deserved their first place. That's all I can really say.
Fabi.
Well, we actually pulled out of the pro circuit right after we had a big drama with a couple of players leaving due to family illnesses, and another player wasn't sure where the team was going, so he didn't feel comfortable being part of the team.
Yep.
At that point, I wasn't too sure where we were going to go, so I just decided to pull us out of there for, yeah. I didn't have too much to say on that, really. It looks like it's been run all right. Probably could be run better, though. Yeah,
okay, so that's where I'm going now. What do you guys think should be improved? Because you know that
definitely.
It needs a ladder.
You need to be able to see the ladder every week?
Yes, that would be nice.
And it needs to be much more stricter and force teams to play games either weekly or bi-weekly, because like the last couple of weeks teams have been like rushing to finish their games in prep for the LAN and to determine seedings. So I think whoever it is, it could be you, it could be Yons, it could be Dapper, it could be anyone, they need to be a lot more stricter and get on the team's backs on actually playing the games. Other than that, I think the prize money was good. What you get for coming top 3 is really good, and I think just the experience of playing all the top teams was really beneficial. So,
actually, someone in chat brought up a good point. The ESGN page is really confusing. Like, I don't know how to get through that. Too hard to find things. But I know they did post a schedule up when they want teams to play. So, Frame, Mindfreak versed, I think we versed SQL, I can't really remember.
The thing is, it wasn't enforced. It was just a forum post that at the start of the season. Yeah.
I think we still adhered to that
an
though.
extent. Yeah.
Yeah, we followed it.
Okay, so what I wanted to ask,
what
I wanted to ask you all is that assuming the format's the same, and I'm pretty sure it will be, because we don't really we like the league pools. We like the fact that there's 3 different leagues of different skill levels, which kind of accommodates for people that want to get into playing more tournaments, etc., etc. So we like the fact that it's an amateur pro league of 8 teams each, and then an open with no maximum. Sorry, and obviously it's going to be the same. Going to run for 7 weeks, have a week's break, and then have the LAN the week after. So that's all going to stay the same in terms of format, which I think is good. And I've enjoyed the format. I think it's generally been good. I think as long as people play their matches on time, etc., then it's fine. What I wanted to ask you is, if you guys, I mean, you're all presumably going to be in one of the leagues, most likely pro in the upcoming season after this one ends. If we, before the season even started, listed all the teams that we're playing and then said every single week for 7 weeks, you're playing this team, would you guys like that?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It'd be much easier. But like, it shouldn't be on like Sunday you have to play. It shouldn't be like that.
No,
it's just week by week. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It would be up to you guys to sort out when you play, but you would have to play in that week. Barring, I mean, obviously, we can make accommodations for people dying or whatever, falling horribly ill. We understand if there are exceptions, but if every single week you said, this team is playing this team at some point this week, organize it yourselves, would that be good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
sounds
that'd
good.
be much better.
And just make it like a Monday or a Sunday is the deadline for that week. So it gives you the whole week
have to be
plus
Sunday.
some of the weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be
so
between...
Sunday is the deadline, and then Monday is the new play week.
Correct. That would be how it would work.
Yeah.
That would be really good.
Anyone else have any other suggestions for how the tournament should be run?
Nope.
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 We're happy.
Yeah, I'm alright, man.
So Havaska's quickly asking me, how do you apply? Both amateur and pro are determined by the tournament admins, and also based on performance in past seasons. So if for whatever reason, because I think we're going to have a couple of open spots in both pro and am once this season ends, and obviously everyone that is played well in the league previously will get placed into the new leagues, and people do move up or down between seasons. If your team isn't automatically put in there, yeah, the top 2 of AM move into pro, bottom 2 of pro move down, etc. Although we may have to revise that, but people will definitely move up at least, and the 2 open teams should move as well. I'm pretty sure. So assuming we don't have, yeah.
So in saying that, really, since Carnage pulled out, but now that they have a full team again, and they're obviously one of the top teams in Oz still, they should, in my opinion, still be automatically put in.
We would,
at discretion of the
I definitely don't think we should get put in amateur.
Well,
that's just not fair to the other teams there.
I don't think we'd do that. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, again, it's at our discretion for a reason, but because the tournament wasn't as organised as we would have liked it to be, that's why we've had to kind of...
I mean, I was expecting it for Season 1. Like, it's the first season of the league, and obviously you guys have thought through all the plot, like, the things that could be better. So I'm hoping Season 2 will be a better experience. So
I think just in terms of organisation, that's what we need.
Yeah.
But talking maybe before about rule set, I mean, would you like, for example, there to be restrictions placed on all chat written into the rules of the league? Just to come back to what we were talking about
As long as it's agreed upon by the captains.
Okay, so we should have to send out the rule set to each captain of every team, and they should all have to agree?
Yeah.
But anything that they're adding to the league, like, there's obviously certain rules that everyone's fine with. But if you're going to introduce something that isn't standard, then yes, it should be agreed on.
Okay, that's a good point. I'll make sure to keep that in mind. I didn't think of that. Good man.
Are you an admin?
Kind of. I obviously know the admins.
You're a helper.
I mean, honestly, if you guys really want to like make suggestions, that's including you guys in chat as well. Just hit up Jons. Like, he's obviously the guy that organises again. Big shout out to Jons. Happy birthday yet again. He organises so many events in Australia. Pretty much all of them, in fact. I'm trying to think of one he hasn't organised. But yeah, I mean, he'll listen to your feedback. Dafford as well. He's one of the other admins. He'll listen to you as well. I am technically an admin, but I tend to do more casting. So... I don't have... I mean, I'll pass things on to people if you want me to, but I'm less directly involved with how stuff's organised. But I will likely be more involved this time around, so we'll see. Anywho, so moving on from tournaments, that is all good stuff. Blah, 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 blah. We are at the strategy section of our fine show. Ladies and gentlemen, just to quickly run this by, we've been through the news, we've been through generally what's happening. Both in Australia and around the world, in terms of tournaments, player changes, etc., etc. Sadly, there wasn't all that much drama this week, but we'll get there. And we'd like to now bring you some awesome metagame and strategy. Of course, the last patch we had is Lulu, so we're going to start with that. What are your guys' thoughts on the newest champion of the league?
Just do round robin opinions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
I don't know. I've only played her mid. As you know, I'm fucking terrible support. Yeah, I've played her mid. She's interesting mid, to be honest. She's definitely has a place, I think.
In mid?
But I don't know. I need to play her more. I've been too busy working on other champions.
As in she has a place in mid, or?
I think she might,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, the thing about supports is it's really hard to balance them, because if you make them too strong, so if you make them scale too well off AP, then you can play them mid and they're way too strong from what they do. A support should be able to do what they do with little items in the current meta. So Lulu actually does that. So she's got an 80% slow on a Q, which is ridiculous at level 1. And also, if you're playing support Lulu, don't max Q or I'll kill you. Max E or W, I don't care, but don't max Q, because you shouldn't be dealing damage. But yeah, she does a lot of utility for a team, so I think she's working really well in support, and she is quite strong. But I don't think she's overpowered. I think Riot's gotten better at that. They've balanced a lot better recently.
Yeah.
Smithy!
I think just more generally, I think she's, along with Ari, for example, is an example of Riot getting really good at designing a really fun, interesting-looking, fun champion to play. Like, she makes support, or being a support, a little bit more sexy, and that's not a bad thing given the state of ranked and solo queue. She's got a lot going on. It's a typical Zyphorus champ, and then she has about 48 different things she can do. But yeah, look, she's fun, and she's fun to play against, and her ult is something different. It's pretty cool, I gotta say, seeing random huge characters as if they had a BKB from Dota.
BKB is awesome. And Domo.
Well, I kind of think she's overpowered. Or I don't know. Like Heavens runs her mid, and he dominates every time. Kingpin can run her support, as people already know, because I know people stalk our profile history. But like Kingpin can run her support, and Heavens can play her mid, and she's extremely good at both roles. And we value her really, really highly. As people saw versus Mind Freak, we didn't have first pick, so we banned Lulu. I don't know. I think she might get nerfed once people realize just how good she is at both roles, because her AP ratios are really, really high. And she, like at bottom, if the jungler ganks and she can hit her Q and then polymorph, it's almost always a gank because there's just so much disable. So yeah, that's my opinion on her.
Yeah, fair enough. Quickly to Adon, what kind of lanes have you been playing at all? Actually, I should probably ask you before I ask you.
Yeah, no, I have been playing. I haven't played that much.
What kind of lanes have you been playing her in?
Me and Appella and I play pretty strong Vayne Lulu.
Vayne Lulu?
And also Tristana. Yeah, Tristana's really good, probably better than Vayne, because she can actually apply the ultimate from Lulu. As soon as she jumps in, you ult with Lulu, and people go flying up in the air again, so they get slowed by Trist and they're knocked in the air. So it's a really strong lane, Vayne Lulu. Also things like Caitlyn Lulu, because you can apply her E to Caitlyn, and then you've got the extra attacks from massive range. It's super good harass early game. So yeah, she's works really well with most. But yeah, Vayne's really aggressive, so don't do it.
I mean, she has obvious comparisons to Janna. That's pretty much what people were saying when she first came out. I think they're vastly different support champions, but like, I mean, Janna Ashe is a fairly good lane. Do you think Ashe Lulu, for example, is any good?
I actually haven't played that matchup, so I'm not entirely sure.
I've already told you about that.
Strats as well.
We had a chat about Ashe Lulu.
It's horrible.
Ashe Lulu is not good.
It's not good. No, it's not good.
Ashe is the epitome of a passive champion in lane, and Lulu's the epitome of an aggressive support. So you put the two together, and you get first blood for the enemy team.
It's like an Ashe Taric lane, just doesn't work. It's not good.
Yeah, our Ashe Taric, that's so bad. Oh man, real suck. Yeah, people trolling you in chat there, Adon.
I complain, Adon. Look at him.
Am I a pretty girl?
The prettiest girl.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Adon's the token girl of the show. It's all good.
We'll have to have him on every
Monday.
week.
Damn it.
Oh man, that's not cool. Oh, chat. You so.
As bad as Lola.
It might be worse. It may slowly develop into just a cesspool. Anyway, just to keep it going. So that's Lulu. Anyone else have final thoughts on Lulu before we move on to our next topic? Adon. Real.
So.
Final thoughts on Lulu before we move on.
Oh, nothing, man. I think she's gonna get nerfed though.
You think so?
Yeah.
Judging by the way, right?
Yeah.
Why though? Just because they like nerfing stuff, or?
Just a lot of outrage against how strong she is. I don't think she's that strong, but I think she does need a bit of a tone down.
Well, what would you
A few
change?
tweaks in her stats. I'll change her ratios. I don't want to play mid. Screw heaven.
They're not that good. They're actually fairly horrible.
No, he's playing AP well. Maybe there's something he needs to get rid of. Maybe the base damage is a bit too high. I don't know.
I think that might be the biggest thing, is that her Q
Yeah.
might do a little bit too much damage. I mean, do you think they need to change the duration on her poly, for example? I think it's 3 seconds at max.
No, it's only like a silence duration. It's not too bad. I don't think it's overpowered. I think it's just a really strong laning early on.
Yeah, I don't think she's ever
All the
tried
CC
either,
she brings.
Yeah, I mean, she's clearly outclasses, say, Sona and Soraka in terms of utility. I mean, everyone kind of outclasses them now that they both got nerfed, but
Yeah, they got a bit of a nerf.
just a bit.
The only thing she doesn't have is a heal, so she's kind of like Janna in that way. But imagine a more aggressive Janna, and that's basically Lulu.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty.
you need to make sure you're on ball with the shields, otherwise your lane partner is going to be losing a lot of health, and you can't heal them up. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Trumps is making an interesting point, actually. He says that Riot are trying to make bot lane real aggressive, and I think it's actually true to an extent. I think bot lane has gotten, if not so aggressive, I mean, obviously they've nerfed sustain to the point where it's not really that good anymore, and
Yeah.
generally being aggressive is now being rewarded. To me, that makes
well, that's
bottom
what
lane...
me and Apella are doing at the moment as well.
Yeah.
They're playing way more aggressive.
I think in general, that makes bottom lane more interesting and more dynamic. Do you guys think that if that is what Riot are going for, that's good?
Yeah, I don't think they could have changed the zero gold meta. They've decided to make it more aggressive, I guess. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Ollie Bastard, someone's saying, yeah, Sean's saying.
So anyone else think that the general changes to bot where they've gone with are good? Other than Adon and myself? Nope, you all hate it? Fantastic.
Well, yeah,
Because
I mean,
they play
obviously,
bot.
having more aggressive lanes are good.
What are you doing to that doll, Domo?
Yeah.
People ask me in
makes
chat.
makes for more interesting spectating bot lane early, you know, because stuff's going to be going on, and makes it more interesting for the players. You know, you're not just sitting there last hitting all the time. You know, you've actually got to try to.
Yeah, they are trying to make the game less passive than what it has been. I mean, it's not so much just farm up for 20 minutes now. It's more try and harass the enemy, try and push them out of lane, try and force objectives. So I think they're succeeding pretty well with that, actually.
Do you think that makes it more skill-based then in bottom lane? Like, if you don't have a Soraka that can now infinitely sustain you, and you just farm for 20 minutes, do you think...
yeah. I mean, like, it's not that hard to just right-click on creeps and get gold. So it's a bit more hard to know when to engage, what skills to use, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, it is becoming more skillful bot lane.
Too much trolling in chat. Anyway, moving on from Lulu, of course, we're going to have more Happy Fun Time metagame discussion. This one, of course, was tailored to our good friends there in the bottom right. At least it's my bottom right. We're going to talk about the jungle. So, I mean, we had a little bit on Lulu, a little bit on support there. Want to like to get nice and in-depth on the jungle. So, friends, what is happening with the jungle meta at the moment? Where do you guys feel it's up to? What do you like? What do you not like? I'll just open it up to you. And if you need me to...
Lead with something, Domo. You go ahead.
Shyvana, let's start with Shyvana and Mundo. So what do you guys think of those two champions? Are they too strong, is the first thing I'll ask you.
No.
Mundo too strong for you.
From what I've seen Demo play, his Mundo's crap in the start, but then like he comes back late game with a bunch of kills mid and just like wrecks face. Sorry, Demo, but it's true. And Shyvana's really strong early game. They do the same kind of thing, except Shyvana's more counter jungling, all that kind of thing from what I've seen. But yeah, I don't play jungle that much, so it's more on you, Domo and Smithy. What are you guys' opinions on that?
Well, yeah. The reason why my Mondo game lately is because I tried different ruins and different masteries as well, and it actually makes for it's like weaker one-on-one engages early on, but later on in the game it's much better for kiting, and you just do more damage in the mid game. So I've been dying quite a lot recently with Mondo in the early game. I don't think either of them are OP. Like, I know Oz teams lately have been just banning shitloads of jungles, but Frey have been kind of getting away from that because we know, like, it's not good to ban all the jungles because they're not actually overpowered. Like, the more overpowered things are like Janna and stuff, which we rate really highly. So we've stopped banning like Udyr, we stopped banning Shyvana, we stopped banning all the really quick junglers, and we just leave them open now. Like, Shyvana isn't OP, like, people need to get that in their head. She's not OP. If she doesn't get ganks, like, sure, she can farm the jungle really quick, that's all fine, but if she gets kited, she's not that great. That's the same with Udyr as well. If, like, he can farm all he wants, but if he can't, like, actually get in there and do damage, he's not that useful. So, yeah.
Can I just ask you, why do you guys keep banning Janna? Like, why do you think she's so strong? She got a couple
like,
nerfs, actually.
No, well, okay, so if you pick Udyr, like, a lot of Oz teams just first pick Udyr or Shyvana, and then, like, okay, I'll break it down. If you guys get first pick Janna, then if I pick Udyr or Shyvana, I'm automatically disadvantaged because 1, your whole team runs quicker than me, and 2, your W kites me. So that's an automatic disadvantage, and that's why if we don't have first pick, we ban Janna. So yeah, like, we just rate her really highly because she can shut down and kite so many junglers.
Yeah, and you guys first pick her as well.
Yeah, like, she's just really, really, really good against the junglers, so that's why we always pick her.
I find she's really weak in lane though. She's really easy to kill, and she only really shines late game when she can use her ult and kite and all that.
Well, I don't know, like, Kingpin terrors sometimes and goes Rambo and dies, but like, it's Janna, it doesn't matter how many times you die. Essentially, like, even when Kingpin died first blood or second blood, like, he was still really useful for the rest of the laning phase for the rest of the game.
Just grabs and oracles and wonders.
Yeah, exactly. So there is no downside to having a Janna, and that's why a lot of teams first pick her, and that's why we value her really highly. So.
And sequentials are the same mindset. We did the same thing with banning Janna and first picking, just because, as Domer said, a lot of the junglers are tanky anti-carries, and Janna counters tanky anti-carries, so it's not fun to have people run faster than you and then you get pushed away from them.
Yeah, very frustrating.
She does have weaknesses in lane, that's why she wasn't in for a long time when Soraka and Sona were much stronger. But with sustain nerfs, like the way I think about it is that if Janna shields your AD when he's full health, like, a healer can't do anything to like Soraka, for example, can't really heal someone when they're at full health and make them stronger, whereas an AD carry with Janna shield effectively has more health than they have, plus attack damage. So in a lot of lanes, you can win trades with Janna. So you can run like Janna Corki, for example, and do a load of damage. And then mid to late game, you have Janna. So you just win every fight based on that.
Also, on the discussion of early oracles, like, I think you can get it on certain junglers and not be disadvantaged from, like, killing lots of wards and stuff. So Udyr, Mondo, Shyvana, they're really good examples of you can get an oracle early and not be disadvantaged. But if you do that on other junglers like Nocturne or Lee Sin, like, those junglers are really squishy, and like, it's a
what the hell?
It's not easy as a time. Oh my god, scrolling.
No, I don't know what happened. Just closed.
What?
I'm sorry about that.
What?
Sorry, carry on. What were we saying?
I forgot now.
Nice. Ah, it's fixed.
Smithy, talk about early oracle.
I think Domo and I, that's probably one of the biggest contention points between him and I. We had a chat about it a couple of weeks ago. I think with early oracles, you have to know when to get it, because there are times where you get an early oracles and it just sets you so far behind, whether it's, say, you get it before an income item or you get it too early. Like, you have to get early oracles in a situation where the opportunity cost is near an advantage. Like, for example, when Alistair hits 6, you could have Boots, Philistone, and Oracles quite happily because he has so much free tanking stats from his ult and hopefully Flash and other escapes that you're not losing out from having Oracles. Whereas on Skarner, for example, he's a lot more susceptible to be getting in bad spots, so it might be better to wait till you get a harder gold on him, or even Merc Treads before you
Or
get
do you guys
Oracles.
normally wait for a Wriggles even? Because that makes your jungle way faster clearing. So do you normally do that, or do you even get before that?
I don't think I get Oracles early on any champion I build Wriggles on, just because Wriggles is such a gold investment that, and doesn't get you tanky. So like Nocturne, for example, with Boots and Wriggles, if you get an Oracles on him, he has about 800 health, so it's not really that useful, you just die. So, whereas someone like Alistair with free tanking stats, Mundo with just, you know, you're just building health on him or itemizing him for health, there are times when Oracle makes sense, but on Wriggles junglers it usually doesn't make sense. And if you've noticed, like for example, I Will Dominate, a new jungle, well, relatively new jungle for Dignitas, doesn't build Wriggles on any champion. He just goes a couple of Orange Blades or on like Lee Sin, for example. Just because Wriggles is such, and yeah, harder gold or gold per 10 items. Just because Wriggles is such an investment for a jungler that doesn't get you tanky. It's like when I read a guide on solo mid for junglers, which says to rush Triforce or something. Junglers don't get 4,000 gold willy-nilly unless something really suspicious is happening. So you have to be smart with your buys. And if you lose in Oracles, which is, I've commentated a few games with Pastry, where people have gotten an area Oracles, lost it, and then got a second and third, for example, you just don't have the income to sustain that and actually do something in a team fight. You're just going to explode.
Yeah, I think I was talking about it with someone, or maybe I was casting it, at Mid-City, Mindfreak versus Senwig, Venom and stuff. Senwig, like, he bought, I think in the game he lost, he bought an early Oracle, he died, he bought a second Oracle, he died, and then he bought a third Oracle, and then you compared his items to the other jungler's items, and he was so far behind it wasn't even funny. Like, I think that's like what junglers need to realize when, like Smithy was saying, when it is a good time to get an Oracle and when it isn't. And like, if you die the first time with an Oracle, you shouldn't be buying a second Oracle immediately. Like, you should either wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes before you get your next Oracle, unless like a big play happens, or you should just get, or if you guys really need an Oracle, you just get your support to get it, because if you get that second Oracle, you're just going to be so far behind compared to the other jungler, and especially if the other jungler didn't buy an Oracle and they just went pure damage or tank. So yeah, that's my opinion on.
But also your playstyle's got to change reflective of the earlier Oracle, because obviously you're going to be 400 gold behind if they don't go for it, and so, you know, you can't be as aggressive straight after you get it, but like, you know, if you wait a little bit and clear wards slowly,
that's why you got to know the matchup, you got to know the champion you're playing, you got to know what items you need before an Oracle is less of a risk and more of a benefit. Like, you buy Oracles to get exclusive vision so you can gank, and so your lanes have less pressure on them. And there are times when that's really important, and there are times when that isn't as important. So, look, it's a hard one. Like, I've just casted too many games recently where, like, the jungler's gotten in that mindset of, man, we need that Oracles. Like, I don't know if that's his decision or that's the call from the team or whatever. But when it gets to the third Oracles and you're looking at the gold and you take away the 1,200 gold they've spent on Oracles and they have less money than, like, the team's support, like, how is that person going to be influential in a team fight? They're not. So
yeah, exactly.
And the also thing, like, the whole point of getting an Oracle is just to clear wards and gain map control so the jungler has an easier time ganking. But, like, you need to be able to kill wards to pay off the Oracle, or, like, you kill a few wards and then get a kill or two to pay off the Oracle. Because if you, like, kill a few wards, that's fine. But then if you, like, noob it up and then die with the Oracle, like Smithy said, you just lost basically 400 gold or 325 gold or whatever. And, like, that's just really bad.
Another thing you can do though is you can ask your team just to get one pink ward for each lane. I mean that doesn't cost that much, and it's spread around your whole team. So they can put a pink ward down, and you know you have a safe entrance to gank that lane, and you know there's going to be no side there, so you don't have to invest in all these oracles.
That's something that M5 does in their counter jungle style. They just get heaps of pink wards for each lane, and then you know like that's how they get their map control.
Yeah.
So on the flip side, do you think just on that point, so do you think more teams should be adopting pink wards or just using them better? Because they are very cost efficient. I honestly don't think I see them used nearly enough.
Yeah, I think an oracle's early is better, but then if you lose that, then it's fine to just invest in pink wards and get your jungler back in the game. You know, so you don't want him to fall behind, so the rest of the team, they hold back a bit and they get him back in the game, help him get some ganks done. I don't think that's maybe a better idea.
Yeah,
so I do like oracles early.
I think what you guys are saying, like oracles in the jungle is strong. Like everyone knows this, because the jungler makes the most, goes over the map the most. But I think communication and good warding and smart pink warding helps with that situation. And on the converse, if you lose the oracle, team communication is key in this game. I think everyone understands that the barrier to entry in terms of play is very low, but the barrier to entry in terms of knowledge is very high with 94 champions or however many it is now. So teams communicating, like the support telling the jungle where the wards are bottom, for example, getting pink wards for exclusive vision of tribe bush or something. Like that's something that you can't really that someone wouldn't necessarily pick up. Like the new teams might not know, but that's really the sort of stuff that separates a decent team from a really good team.
And in saying that, I just want to make a note to all junglers in Australia. I think you guys, just from watching heaps of cast games, I think the biggest issue people have is you don't realise when you need to be farming your jungle and when you should be ganking or invading. So if you're already behind in farm because you died and your team is saying, oh, let's invade their blue, and you're already behind the jungler, then you need to take the responsibility and say, no, we're not going to invade this, I'm behind, I need to farm my jungle, instead of just blindly going into invade. And that's the same with ganks. In Frey, if I know I'm behind their jungler and someone calls for a gank, I'll say no, I'm clearing doubles, I'm doing race, I'm doing wolves, then I'm recalling, and then I'll either say, okay, I'm coming top now, or okay, I'm doing another jungle run, then I'll come help your lane. It's really important to understand how much farm you need to keep up the other jungle, and if you're gonna go gank, you need to calculate, okay, when I gank, what's the likelihood of getting a kill or forcing a flash compared to, oh, okay, so during this time I could have been farming my jungle, or I could have been taking their wraith, or something like that. I think junglers really need to think about that thought process a lot more when they're playing, because at the moment I'm seeing too many junglers just thinking, oh, this lane's behind, I'll go gank the lane, and then if they don't get the kill, then they're so far behind the other jungler who decided to just simply farm their jungle. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Cool. Probably the dirty secret there is that if someone is behind in lane, then you can gank them to relieve pressure, and then they need that, that's fine. If someone's way behind, say if they're 0-2, your gank is probably just going to bait them to die, just because they're so much weaker. And there are times there where it's better to say, I'm sorry, but, buy a few more Doran's blades and suck it up.
Yeah, sometimes it's better just let their tower go down, and then you can farm, you can freeze the lane up somewhere near their own second tower, and then they can just farm up and just hopefully win that way.
Yeah, a perfect example of that is in many games where Obi's lost top, you'll see me actually neglect him, and I just won't go top anymore, and I'll just focus on bot lane or mid lane or their jungle, and just continue to farm and gank the other lanes, because I already know, okay, Obi's already too far behind. If I gank for him, the advantage isn't going to be enough to get him back in front or back even. So just let him lose the tower and then get free farm, and in the meantime get the other lanes fed. And I just think junglers really need to get better at that, at choosing which lanes to gank and such.
Yeah, so this is an interesting point someone in chat's brought up. Lulu Giant, he said taking oracles on roaming AP. So Zerk actually did this to Mindfreak at the first mid city I played at. He played Scion mid. He took a mobility boots and he got a few oracles, and he just kept coming through Dragon. He kept finding the wards because we had to ward to stop Scion. Scion roamed really well back then, and he was really strong like all game. There was nothing we could do against that except for kill him. He was really strong, so it's a really good strategy actually on those roaming APs. So like Ari, Scion, those types.
And I see where you're coming from with that, and it sounds clever, but the advantage of having a jungle with oracles is that most of the time they're out of vision, whereas an AP mid has to farm his lane at some point. So
yeah,
it's
that's
so
true.
easy to bait the AP mid to go kill a ward,
The thing with Scion though, he ran through his lane, blew up all the creeps, ran past, just only sat there for a second.
It's AP champions like that can just like completely shove their lane in a matter of 1 second, and then you don't know if they go on top or bottom. And with the oracles, it's just so easy for them to roam. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Exactly.
okay, but that doesn't really apply anymore because there's no AP champs that really get mobility boots besides Scion, and Sion's not really that viable anymore. Like no one picks him, so like yeah, it's smart. But if you did that on Ari or Morgana or whoever, getting the early oracle, one is going to put you behind in lane, and two, like if they get caught, they're fucked. Like they're not like Sion where it's
definitely.
Yeah, like.
I'm pretty sure from back then that was from a different meta as well. Back then,
yeah,
like it's gotten a lot tankier now, which is fucking boring as shit, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's not really that viable now, but back then, like it sounds great, but Scion now is crap. So and you can't really do it on the other APs unless the other team is dirt. So yeah.
So yeah, that are all interesting stuff. Just quickly add on, I've been noticing in chat you've been talking about how you play support. I wanted to ask you, someone had a question first of all, was do you start a pink ward every time? And I believe your answer was only on aggressive support?
Yeah, so like, not every aggressive support, so like Tariq and Alistair, I like to start a pink ward. Because then you can keep, there's no sight in maybe their left bottom brush or their right bottom brush, depending on which side you're on.
Yep.
And you can do your combo into there, and they can't see it coming. So it's very, very strong. But there's champions like Leona where I like to have some sustain in lane, so I grab health pots and just normal pink wards because I know I can still kill everyone. I've got good range on the E and the ult, so I like to have sustain in lane instead of and it screams that I'm best Leona in Oz. So I like to have some sustain in lane as Leona instead of going for full aggression.
Can I ask something, Adon?
Yep.
If you go one pink ward, two green wards, doesn't that make it really obvious in where you actually ward? So like if their support is decent and they just click on you and say okay, they pink warded the tri-brush, he only has two green wards, and then they keep track of those green wards, which should be really easy, aren't you a lot more like susceptible to ganks if they just keep track of where you green ward at the start?
Yeah, well that's true, but I don't pink ward straight away, and it's more of a counter ward. You want to know where you watch them, you see, like, because sports have to leave lane to ward, it's obvious, so you watch them, anyway, they're always going to know where you're going to ward, because as soon as you leave lane, it's like, oh yeah, there's a ward going down. So it's not much of a disadvantage, it's a good aggression strat, but it's, as you say, it's not always the greatest, because you can see how many wards they have, you know one of them's gone down, you know when it hasn't gone down. So yeah, you're right. I don't know. I suppose has King been doing that to me? I haven't noticed.
Yeah.
I actually agree with Adon on the fact that he's talking about Tariq Alistair and I guess to a lesser extent Leona, because those are melee supports, and melee supports, if you're in a brush that's warded, you're going to be that much closer to the action because you don't have a ranged auto attack. If you ever want to harass. So if you have if a brush that Alistair or Tariq is camping is warded, they're pretty much impotent. So I think ward makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so hang on, just a quick question to diverge a little bit. Someone is talking in chat, Warpdex wanted to know, of any of the top Aussie teams got any future scrims in the works versus top NA teams, and I'm currently yelling at Fabi in chat for not inviting me to all his fun parties. So Fabi, have you been organising scrims against top NA teams without me knowing?
Not the like TSM, Dignitas, Curse. I don't know. I don't personally think we're good enough to verse them yet. We've got scrims coming up against MTW, Mono Esports, just a couple of teams like that, really, and a couple random 2K player teams. I don't know. It's really hard games actually with the ping difference and yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, is that something that any of you guys would like to do more? Scrim some of the more top teams from overseas. Yeah,
definitely. Maybe within time.
I mean, yeah, like obviously we would all love to have that opportunity, but the reality is it's quite hard. Like with Frey, our team cracks are between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. and obviously no American teams are on at that time. And like we can't play during the day because everyone's a student or people are working. So like, because we're not full-time professional players, it's quite hard to get to like organize scrims with American teams.
Yeah, the time zones are really big setbacks.
Like,
they're 14 hours behind us.
It's quite hard. Yeah, like the only time we could really do it is on the weekend, and obviously we're not going to dedicate every weekend to scrimming American teams because people have lives. So yeah.
What about trying to get scrims up with Asian teams, like the Korean teams or the Hong Kong teams? I don't really know the time difference, but it's presumably better.
There's a server problem there. I mean, they might be on their own server.
Yeah,
they might be on NA.
The thing with that is that we can't go to the Chinese or Korean servers because we get 400 plus ping, and whenever they come here, like I remember when Trey scrimmed eHome a few months ago. We stomped them in 15 minutes, and they said, "Oh, we had 220 ping," and then they said GG and left, and we haven't seen them since. So, like, they complain a lot about lag, even though they agree to the scrim on NA, and like I just don't think they like scrimming with that amount of ping. So again, it's really hard to get in contact with the Asian teams and to convince them to come to NA. So yeah, it's really hard for Australia.
What about Garena? Because they play on the Garena, don't they?
That's interesting actually, because Optus gets 400 ping on that, and Telstra gets I think like 100 or something. So Optus is going through New Zealand or something like that. Someone told me.
Yeah, it's being rerouted. It's so badly done.
So yeah, I can't play Garena, but people like Scream can play Garena.
Yeah, I can play Garena. Yeah, it's pretty silly.
I tried to play Garena, and then I tried to get Heavens to play Garena, and we both had like 400 plus ping. So we can't do that
Fair
either.
enough.
Yeah.
Really sucks.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the NA teams are like your best bet ping-wise, because obviously we play on North American server anyway, but I guess it's just the time difference that's really hurting people.
Yep.
Fair enough.
And I don't even think we're that great, to be honest. I don't think we're good enough. Maybe Frey is, but I think we still need more practice to get up there.
Didn't you...
I think we get smashed against those teams.
Adon, didn't Mindfreak wake up one morning for like NA Go for LOL at one point?
Yeah, we did that, and we did decently. But
yeah, you guys
are still
2 or 3 rounds
good
in.
Teams are not like, yeah, we won a few rounds, but there's still teams that I don't know, teams that would match up against CLG that still beat us, you know.
But I mean,
hard.
Isn't that good in terms of learning and improving?
Yeah, no, we did learn a lot off that. That was really fun actually. It was just 6 AM wake up or whatever it was.
Yeah, fellas in all chat now being like, 6 AM. Yeah. That would be it would be sweet. I mean, hopefully in general we'll see more. I mean, as the Aussie scene grows as well, hopefully more people just get sent over for LANs as well. I mean, as the scene grows as a whole, it's hopefully we'll be seeing some Australians migrating over for events. I mean, we've had Aussie teams sent over, especially in Counter-Strike for various events, and I know MLG, some of the Aussie teams have headed over for the open brackets of certain events as well. So, I mean, hopefully you guys will get to do some travelling, but of course that's, I think, a bit way down in terms of viability. But again, I mean, as the community grows and as the events get better and have more open brackets, etc. I mean, there hasn't been an MLG League of Legends event for a very long time, and it doesn't seem like they're like they say it's on the circuit, but it's not really yet. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you guys get a chance. But do you think it's hard? Obviously, you know, there's a time zone difference in terms of playing on the server you want to play on against teams, and a ping difference on the other teams. You know, on E or any of the Asian servers there's a ping problem, and on NA you have a pretty big time zone problem. Do you think that means you guys have trouble even qualifying for international events?
I definitely say Frey got a raw deal. Like that game we casted Pastry, they got a very raw deal there. I'm not gonna lie, that could have been handled so much better, but that's just my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not, like, I don't want to sound cocky, but the team we versed, CG, if we versed them on the American server, I think we would have beaten them quite convincingly. our team comp was better, and I think we had the better players. But since we were forced, some of us were on 400 ping, some of us were still on 200 ping, and then they were all on 30 to 50 ping. Like the gap in ping is just too much. We can't qualify for international events if we have to go through the Asian teams on Asian servers. Like, it's just too hard. So I don't know what they're going to do to fix that, because like they can force the Asian teams onto the North American servers, but I don't know if the Asian teams would boycott it or something because they just don't want to play on the ping. And yeah, so I don't know.
Yep, fair enough. I mean, again, as the scene grows, hopefully it'll all get better. Now, we're actually winding up slowly now. We're at the point now where we've kind of exhausted generally what we want to talk about. Now it is all up to chat. Everyone in chat, it is question time. So if you guys want to ask questions, they don't have to be LoL related. They can be silly. They can be generally just kind of fun. But if you want to ask any of these guys, myself or Nives, a question, please go ahead and ask me that. Shiny Tuxedo, do you mean Warwick as in Warwick, the jungler, or what WW as in something else? Not WCG Mobile. We're not talking about that.
Could be Western Wolves, the European team.
It could be Western Wolves, that's why I'm asking. What's the thing on your torso?
I don't know what shampoo I use, I don't check. And that thing on my torso was a shirt, I'm sorry, I had it off earlier, but you can't see that anymore.
Domo, why don't you like Flash on certain junglers? Was asked by Fradier. I'm sure knows, but I guess he wants to ask so everyone knows.
Well, okay, so he's obviously talking about junglers like Mundo, Shyvana, Nocturne. Basically, Shyvana already has a free flash with the ultimate, so I don't see any point in actually getting flash when, if you're like a tanky bruiser and you're going to be going balls deep into the fight anyway, why should you take flash? Why wouldn't you just take exhaust, go in, exhaust their AP or their AD, and then just go straight into them? And that's the same with Mundo and with Nocturne. I think like that's just my view on it. I just think Flash on Shyvana is stupid, Flash on Mundo is stupid, Flash on Nocturne can be used, but I prefer Exhaust because I like to go balls deep. Like, Flash on the rest of the junglers is good because they need to escape or they need to initiate, but on Shyvana, Mundo and Nocturne, I don't think it's needed.
Actually, can I answer this question from Laker? Yes, I can't play Blitz. It's so hard.
Yeah, the question was
definitely one of the hardest I've found to play with ping. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, just a quick. It's the question was do we Aussies feel we can't play certain champions due to ping? And yes, I think Lee Sin as well is we can play, but I think it's a lot harder.
I can't play Gragas.
Really?
Shit. Yeah, I can't play.
Hard.
Yeah, it's just so hard. Like, yeah,
you can't
Blitzcrank could be another hard one.
Straight off.
Yeah, it's Lux as well to a similar point, but I think she's a bit easier since her E all slow. Yeah.
Yep.
But still.
Yeah. Smithy, more questions. I'm gonna give this one to you. What do you think of Warwick at the moment? People want to know if
I don't think he's any good at all.
You don't think he's good at all? Why?
No.
Wow.
His jungling is very slow. I mean, they buffed it a little bit, and it's okay. I mean, he's high health, so he doesn't have worries there, but until level 6, he can't really engage with anyone. Like, with the red buff, he kind of can. My dog's going crazy, by the way, in the background.
That's fun.
But he doesn't do anything till 6, and with the aggressive jungle meter, he can't trade with the aggressive counter junglers either. So, and his ganks at 6 are good. I mean, everyone knows that. Flash ult, just ult, he's good. But there's so many other champions that can do what he does better. And in top lane, he gets pushed in on all day. Like, he can't control the lane at all. But look, late game, he's very tanky. He has all his items. He's useful, but until then, not very useful.
Yeah, I think the problem with Warwick is just making it to 6. Like, if you don't get raped before you hit level 6, then you can do good stuff. But if you're versing like Udyr and stuff, you're just going to get raped in the jungle. So, yeah.
Fabby, you're such a troll. So Rocky AE wants to ask us, with WCG going mobile, where do you guys think the next best international LoL events are? IEM or MLG?
April Fools.
I think it is too.
I really hope it is April Fools, unless who wants to join my Angry Birds team? Like, I'm offering positions.
I'm there.
Alright, excellent.
Yeah, I think the funny thing is that WCG isn't the best international representation either. But actually, I'll expand that question. Do you guys think that IM or MLG is currently better internationally for LoL? I mean, it's kind of obviously IM at the moment, but do you think MLG?
IM,
Do you think MLG has the potential to go further and be bigger than IM, or do you think the IM circuit's
They
always
don't
going
seem
to
to
be?
have the same level of support. They don't seem as interested as I am.
Apparently, the WCG Australian rep is telling me that's not a hoax. I'm hoping it is, but man, WCG Mobile, real suck.
Well, that's the end of WCG.
Oh well, that's not exciting.
Maybe DreamHack? I'm excited about DreamHack.
Yeah,
Gangplank, Anklers, play Gangplank.
So
Yeah,
Moonsakari had a question as well, and I'm just trying to find out what it was. What do you think of the current CG standard? Personally, I feel like there's 4 top teams and about 6 to 8 teams closing the gap, whereas even a few months ago there was just the 3 top teams, and that is all. What do you guys think of how it's shifted?
Let's do round robin on this.
Fabi!
I understand the question.
Whoa, what's the question?
Wow, okay. So Moonsakari is saying, what do you think of the current CG ladder standard? Personally, he feels like there's currently about 4 top teams and about 6 to 8 teams that are closing the gap, getting closer. Before, like a few months ago, there was only about 3 top teams. Do you think it's changed, and if so, why?
Well, we're not on the CG ladder. Because there's no real reward for the time. Like people say, oh, it's good practice. I agree, it's good practice, but if we want to practice, we can just set a scrim with the team we want. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Okay, I'll phrase it slightly differently. Do you think that there are teams? Do you think there are
I think
more
there's
top
definitely
teams
teams that are coming up and coming.
And do you think there are more top teams as well? Sorry, is the other part of the question.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think I don't know what to think, actually. Pass.
Fair enough. Adon.
Yeah, well, when I first got into professional esports in League, I was looking on Cybergamer actually, and I didn't even know there was professional League teams. And I saw the top 3 was Frey, SQL, and Mindfreak, I think it was. I think Carnage was pretty close behind as well. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. There was no other really like amazing teams I could see there, but now there's teams like Team Cutie Pies. There's all these other ones that are just coming up. I think Australian esports and League is going to get bigger, and it's going to come. Once we get the good internet, we can all stream. We can show that we are really good players here. So I think it's coming. On to you, Demo.
Well, I think. Well, I don't really want to talk about Cybergamer because Carnage isn't on it. But I still think there's just the top 5 teams in Australia that are up and beyond everyone else. So that's Carnage, Frey, SQL, Mindfreak, and Cutie Pies? Yeah,
Cutie Pies,
yeah. Formerly Q-Limax. I think those 5 teams are up and beyond everyone. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. And there is a lot of up and coming teams. I'm not going to name them all, but there's actually quite a few. But I still don't think any of them are on the same level as the top 5 teams in terms of team synergy, team experience, and individual skill. So, and again, like Lord Fab said, we don't gain anything from the CG ladder. So that's why, you see Frey hasn't played a match since December last year because we have no reason to challenge SQL because being first on the CG ladder means nothing, and so we just don't challenge. So, I guess it's a big step forward for the up-and-coming teams to get to top 10, and they make it sound like a big deal, but to the already top teams that are on the ladder, we really don't give a shit. So, yeah.
Put like a true Aussie.
You're saying that you consider that there's the 5 top Australian teams. What do you think of featured gaming?
I'd put them at a 6th with up-and-coming teams. I think 6th is debatable because there's a lot of up-and-coming teams we haven't seen play yet, and just looking by their rosters and their results in ranked and stuff, they could be a lot better or just as good as featured gaming. So I'm gonna wait until in time and the AGGN tournament to make a full judgment on, say, a top 10 list in Australia. because up until now we've only ever had a top 3 or a top 5 team, and then all the other teams are just meh, whatever their average. But I think we're starting to get to the stage where up-and-coming teams can actually be recognized and be put into a top 10 list, which would actually be really exciting and advance the community.
Cool. All right, one last question before we go, guys.
Hey, what about me, huh?
Oh, sorry, my bad, Smithy. Go on. I'm sorry, sir.
And I'm gonna have to say goodbye now as well because my team's bugging me to come play. But the main thing that I've taken away from CG, I really like the format. I think the actual the web page for it and the challenge system is cool. Like maybe it hasn't been all the way thought through in terms of rewards, like Domo's hinting on. But a lot of the teams that are like sniffing around the top 5, like pretty much have no press about them. Like they just came out of nowhere and they're challenging for higher and higher places, and that's cool because that suggests there's teams out there that are putting in the time, playing the games, getting higher rating, and that can only be a healthy thing. So I don't know. I think that you can go places, but we'll have to see.
Yep. Awesome. So, are you leaving then, or do we go? Have you
Yeah,
one
I'm
last
gonna have
question?
to sign off.
All right. Thanks.
Gotta
Thanks for coming
sign
on, Smithy. Please, just for now, if you can leave Google open, that would be amazing. You can feel free to mute the mic and close your cam, but just so the overlay doesn't go crazy again. We're trying to get Adon back. But yeah, the overlay is currently messed up, but that's cool. Apparently, Domo has merged with Adon. Guys, you're looking pretty tired. Thanks for all for being here. Just one last quick question. This one does come from Rocky AU again. So, assuming apparently the WCG thing isn't a hoax. So, assuming that it isn't, and it is in fact going mobile, because this again, I don't know, but apparently it's not a hoax. Assuming that's not the case, where do you think the best international presence for LoL is? Is it IEM or MLG?
Not on this planet. If it's going mobile games.
No, but like in terms of MLG versus IEM, which do you think has the better international LoL scene? I mean, I think we kind of already know it, but
IEM, definitely. Like, I thought MLG was like until was it New York? It was pretty much majority North America as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Sorry.
think so?
IEM. Like the reason is because IEM is hosted all over the world. Like each city and each country have their chance to host it, and that gives other teams in the world the opportunity to fly there. But since MLG is always hosted in America, less international teams seem encouraged to go, I guess, and it's just a flock of American teams.
I'm back.
So yeah, I don't know.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Yeah. So the question.
So IEM,
go ahead.
IEM seems to give more support to international players than MLG. You know, so it obviously would have a broader international audience or competitors coming in.
Yeah. I think.
That's
Yeah, I think so as well. And just quickly add on for you, the question was, which do you think has a better international presence in League of Legends at the moment, IEM or MLG?
I actually don't know like either of them.
Okay.
Like I haven't been following them, the IEM and all that. Yeah, because I didn't even know about Cybergame until like December last year, so I haven't been following that kind of things. I just play my game.
Okay, awesome. Best answer all night. Alright guys, we are of course finishing up here. Before I go, I'm going to pass around to everyone if you want to say anything, any parting words at all, any shout-outs, etc., etc. Feel free to make them. Mr. Lord Fabulous, is there anything you'd like to say before we go?
Give them a shout-outs now, right?
Yep, go ahead. Shout out away.
Okay, shout-out to Razer, IINet, OzPC, and Oz Gaming servers. You guys are awesome. Keep supporting us. Shout-out to Grilled Laster. That crazy motherfucker knows how to grilled lettuce. And, yeah, shout-out to all the Carnage fans out there.
Awesome. Adon, anything to say, any shout-outs?
Yeah, I want to thank SteelSeries and AMD and Enamax, and also Riggs for driving us 10 hours to Sydney back at SG Hell. He did the whole thing by himself, so good work on Riggs. And also shout out to my team, so thanks to him.
Awesome. Smithy is sadly gone. I'm sure you had shout-outs. Domo, shout-out.
Shout out to Razer. Yeah, shout out to Razer, Fnatic Array, all my sponsors, my teammates, and shout out to all the Lola community for just supporting all the top teams and watching the streams, and I encourage you to keep doing it because it's just going to advance the community. So, and shout out to all the Free fans.
And Nitters, before we leave, is there anything you want to say?
So shout out to Bornhofen, my good friend Andy, and just to all the viewers, thanks for coming and watching Facecheck, and to all our lovely guests here.
Awesome. Yeah, big thanks to all of you.
man.
Thanks for all coming on. Hopefully we'll see you again. It's been a whole heap of fun. Quick shout out to Slave of Lord as well, because Radio is begging me to make the shout out. So shout out to Slave of Lord.
I forgot.
Alright, quick shout out.
Can I also thank Habuska for playing with Mindfreak at Mid City Land? That was great on him. Thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, big shout out to the viewers as well. We don't want to do this without you, and it's absolutely been lovely having you all here. Thank you all for the questions and all the interactions. Well, we've actually really enjoyed it, and it's made the show a lot better having you guys supporting us and keeping us in check and giving us a good question so we can answer all the things that you guys want to hear about the community. People are adding me into stuff. That's not a good time to start adding me. Alright, so on behalf of everyone here with me, my co-host Neves, and all my guests, Lord Fabulous from Carnage, Adon from MF, Smithy from SQL, and Domo from Frenetic Ray. Thank you all for coming tonight. Just a quick shout out to all our sponsors as well. Big shout out to ESGN, to Gaming Institute, gameinstitute.com, GameStar as well, GameStar.com. Make sure to check out all their shoutcasting there as well. I do quite a bit of casting there myself, so make sure to check that out. And of course, big shout out to the LOL Australia community as well. And while we're on LOL Australia, big shout out to Yons as well. Happy birthday yet again, my man. Shout out to Yons. And happy birthday. And of course, continue making LOL Australia the awesome community that it is. And shout out to Hamilton Match as well, because he's begging me. So shout out to you guys as well. And shout out to everyone. Everyone who's enjoyed the show, shout it out. It will be on our YouTube channel, so that's youtube.com/LOLFacecheck. Feel free to check that out. And follow us on Twitter as well if you feel like it. You can follow me on Twitter at PaceTime, or you can follow the show on Twitter. That's Twitter at LOLFacecheck again, so LOLFacecheck. Make sure to check us out on YouTube and Twitter. This episode will be archived up to that YouTube channel very, very soon, so it should be done sometime tonight, so it'll be up hopefully by tomorrow morning. And just quickly, do you guys want to plug any social networking or anything like that before we go? Mr. Fabulous, we'll start with you again.
Yeah, shout out to my own stream, because I'm a self-promoting asshole. It's just it's my Twitch account. I'll type in chat.
So twitch.tv/LordFabulous.
And I've got my stream working now, so I can play at 220 ping without actually lagging.
Amazing.
So it's good.
Plug Twitter, anything else? Carnage Facebook page?
Yeah, I'll link it all in chat.
Alright, cool, so link it in chat. Adon?
So?
Any social networking plugs? You guys, Mindfreak has a Twitter as well, so make sure to follow.
Oh yeah. I got a Twitter, man, and I got Facebook. So yeah, just search me up on Facebook, and I'll link my Twitter on that.
Awesome. Smithy, I don't think has one. Domo, social networking.
Yeah, just hit up www.fanaticray.com, check out our website, and like us on Facebook. Just search in Fanatic Array and you'll find us. Cheers.
Awesome. Nives, your Twitter is at Nives, I believe?
Yeah, I don't know actually.
Is it spelled differently?
But I'll just give a shout out quickly to esportsdaily.com.au and Sydney Gamers League.
SGL. Good man.
Yes, SGL.
Alright guys.
And follow Mindfreak Esports on Facebook.
Alright, you guys can post it all in the chat. Anyway guys, we are done. On behalf of my co-host Nives, myself, Facecheck, and all my lovely guests and new viewers for joining us tonight, we are out this time for Facecheck. We will see you guys next week, Monday, 8 PM AEDT. Thank you all again for joining us, and see you all later.
Shout out to Martin. Okay, good.